What's up, everybody? This is Phil Rogacki.
And I'm Jared Abergina.
You're listening to Two Tree Guys Podcast. What's up, everybody? This is Phil Rogacki and
Jared
my boy, and Jared Abergina. I was going to introduce you. Man, why does our introduction suck? I was going to introduce you, but I'm not.
We have no game plan to this.
Jared the Wizard Abergina is here. But man, another great podcast show that we're bringing you guys. If you guys have never tuned into the show, we got a few episodes. We got our mic drop episode that we go over marketing and sales. That comes out, at least once a month. We got our short, What's Your Stories, traveling around to different trade shows. We have little 15, 20 minutes for the industry to be able to have an opportunity to be able to tell their stories. Every single person out there has an awesome, amazing story about somebody, how they got in the industry, a mentor that took them under their wings to be able to teach them, and they got to share it, And the gentleman on today, I got an opportunity to spend some time hearing his story. And we haven't posted it yet because we wanted to bring him in and hear his full story. We only got, the Cliff Note versions, and it was really good. And then lastly, our full episode, which is this, in the podcast studio in Santa Rosa, California, with some beer, with goats, with climbing, with training, all sorts of different awesome things here. And if you guys have never been out here to Santa Rosa, I say this, and one day I may wish I didn't say it, but if you're traveling through and you need a place, we'll put you up for a night or two, but you can't live here. But we have a bunkhouse that sits 28 beds. You can have the top bunk. Jared has the bottom bunk. That's what he prefers. I don't know what that means, but it means something from here. But and then also, too, share the frickin' show, guys. We don't ask for any frickin' money. And these shows cost a lot to produce. A lot of time is put in to make these for you guys so you can hear your story and other people's stories that are out there. So all we ask, if you're listening to this, share it. Share it on your page. Tag us in it. That's it, man. Our industry is such an awesome, badass industry, and a lot of people don't know it. So let's top Joe Rogan. Let's be, sponsored by Spotify so we can get the word out to the world about our awesome, badass industry. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But today we're joined by Mr. Bill Burley. Do we get clap, Bob?
Hey.
It usually comes through. You guys can't hear it online. There we go. There we go. But, Bill Burley, lead trainer for Mowbray's tree service, leads up the strike team. Now the equipment manager.
Gee, thanks.
And today you were promoted to the Saluting branch general manager of leading that whole organization that's going to be coming here on Saturday down in Redlands, correct?
So I'm going to be taking lead on the event that's going to be in Riverside.
Riverside. We're talking, you live by Redlands.
Yes.
We live by Redlands. And tell us a little bit about the Saluting branches.
So Saluting Branch is a Washington, D.C. based organization. They're one time a year. You get volunteers to go and trim, remove trees from the national cemeteries.
Nice.
So it happens on the same day all around the country. It's a coordinated event. It's actually a really, really big thing to have happen. Mm-hmm. It's for one, it's an honor.
Yeah, and you get to lead the whole thing.
Ricky was not very forthcoming with what I was actually going to be doing, but after I said yes and found out the hard way, it's,
it'll probably be the most rewarding thing when you get done, with that.
It is. I'm not much of a party planner, but I think I'm going to have to figure it out pretty quick.
You're just the partier.
Yeah. Those days are gone, but, I think I can figure it out, but I have a really good team behind me. Saluting Branches does supply a lot of support, and then I have the Mowbray's team and then the other volunteers that we're bringing in to help with that event.
Good. Well, good, man. Well, I'm excited you're here. We gave a little tour of the Academy Ranch and walked around. We got some pad thai served tonight, made by world famous chef Molly. Molly, shout out to you in the crowd. Whoop whoop.
Oh man, so good.
I know. It's the best.
I'm happy to be up here. I mean, how long have we been talking for me to come take a trip up here? And
It's been a while, man.
it's the first opportunity, and this is it's impressive.
Thanks, man.
It's really impressive.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
It's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and ideas, and failures, and wins, and just what we have to work with. Being able to build this with love.
Yeah.
That's out here.
Well, it's a really good program. I mean, probably one of the best instructors out there. Don't get your head.
Oh, thank you. Me?
Yeah,
no, him?
By far, no. It takes an entire team to do this. I've tried to do this on my own, and it doesn't work. You gotta have a team to do something like this.
Yeah, you got a pretty decent team up here to do that with.
You gotta have a team. Yeah.
So let's get in your story. Let's talk about Bill. I mean, the man. I mean, you're a Teufelberger ambassador. I see you at every single trade show. I see you all over online. Two guys just came up to you and were like, "Oh, hey, I follow you online." I'm like, "You're Instagram famous. You're the Facebook famous. Insta famous. That's the word."
Well, I know people know me, and I know some people follow me, but that whole online presence thing is all it's all new. I don't do a lot with it. I'll post some pictures up, forward out some, and share some other things, and butt my opinion in every now and then on certain things. But I don't really consider that a really big presence. That's not super important to me. Getting the right information out there, getting people to understand where you're trying to come from with the safety aspect and training aspect. That's a good platform to start with.
Yeah.
And it gets the conversation started. So that's the online presence, I guess. Went from
you have fans.
Yeah,
you have fans.
I guess.
I know. And you have Treetopia you're going to be going to, and I'm sure you're going to turn into one of the main attractions.
Oh, well, I'm always the main attraction.
Are you teaching at Treetopia?
Not at this minute, but we do have our little game that we're going to be playing at the booth.
And you say we, that's for Teufelberger?
For Teufelberger, yeah.
It's Teufelberger or Teufelberger?
It all depends on how you want to say it.
You're from the south or the north. You're Teufel or Teufel?
The real name, Teufelberger. That's how you say it over in Europe.
Yeah.
Here, everyone says Teufelberger, Turtleburger,
truffle butter.
Yeah, whatever you want to say it.
What does the word mean?
I'm not really sure. Not really sure.
Right.
I know it's a family name.
If anybody knows what that, it's a family name.
It's a family name. Florian Teufelberger is running the company right now, and it's been a family company the entire time.
When would the company start?
A long time ago.
Did it always start as a rope company?
It started as a fiber company and also wire rope, but a very long. I think it's approaching 200 years.
Wow.
It might be a little bit under, a little bit more, but it's approaching 200 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
So it's been around a long time, and family owned the entire time.
And how long you been an ambassador for them?
Officially?
Yeah.
About a year, maybe two.
Unofficially?
Unofficially, been in there about 5 years.
5 years. Gotcha.
Yeah, kind of staying behind the scenes, helping with market development, product development as well, but making sure that they're going in the right direction. There was a big change. Everyone knows who used to be the main marketing manager for the United States, and when she moved on and they replaced her, Jason Legou had very little knowledge coming from Whirlpool.
Yeah.
So we kind of collaborated quite often on how to kind of flow into this industry and who to talk to, who to get in with, and
good
kind of steer them in the right direction.
Who was the really girl that left?
Regina. And that's when I was working with Teufelberger, and when she left was when I parted as well.
Gotcha. Was she with the company for a long time?
No,
Not long.
Not long.
I would say between 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
But she made an impact.
She made an impact. She did really good. I mean,
where's she at now?
Not really sure.
She's doing. I think she's an engineer within.
She works for Whirlpool
in construction management. No, that was Jason Legou.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, Jason's from Whirlpool, and then you have Ludo, who everybody knows Ludo. Ludo is awesome. Jason's an awesome guy, but Ludo, he's the life of the party.
Yeah.
And I've seen that guy in the last 2 years come from just being a tree care marketing manager to where he's at now, where he's climbing. He's out there, helping guys. He's out there getting this. He's actually going to get his European tree worker certification here this upcoming week. He's really taking it stride,
Dedication.
taking part.
Yeah.
So how'd you get in this industry, man? How'd you?
Not by choice.
No.
So I've been around a long time. Started this when I was 14. There wasn't much going on. I played baseball. I was a pretty hardcore baseball player back in Rhode Island. And there really wasn't much for, kids to do for job-wise. So we had a family friend who was second-generation tree. And I started working there in the summers when I could, when I wasn't playing ball, which was, the first couple of summers was pretty meager because I was playing on 2 different traveling teams at the time. Double session practices twice a week. It was tough, but I still managed to do it on the weekends and when I wasn't traveling. And then it started out as, and I'm going to give Bob Verrier a shout out for this one because this guy's probably the one. There's been a lot of major influences in my life, but this guy really did that work ethic. From the beginning, it was boy chop wood, boy drag brush. For the first 3 years, I didn't touch a chainsaw. I was splitting wood all the way through the winters. Not with a splitter, with a maul.
Yeah.
Flinging that thing.
Great for the baseball swing, by
Yes,
the
it
way.
is. Yes,
my
it is.
dad used to make me do that shit when I was a kid.
Yep.
And I hated it. And he's like, it's good for your wrist. Snap that wrist.
Yep.
But,
Get that whole body thrust into it and split that stuff. So it started with boy chop wood, boy drag brush, and then progressed into fixing. We had a bunch of 1979, 80 beaver chippers. And he had a whole bunch of those in the back lot that were meant for parts. And that's how I learned how to really start fixing things. Because if you want to work the next day, that chipper better be fixed.
That's it.
And I remember the one thing that really sticks out is we had to change the disc out. And he had one chipper back there that had been sitting there for God knows how long, right? He gives me a 3/4 inch socket set, 3/4 inch ratchet.
Yeah.
Big, I want to say it was probably a 2.5 inch socket on there and a 10-foot pipe.
Breaker bar.
Yep, big breaker bar. And I remember really I was out there for a couple of days trying to free those nuts, But that was the first, this is your work ethic. This is how you're supposed to do things. You do it till it's done. And I remember crashing this skidder, and that didn't go very well. And I learned how to weld and braze at that time. 'Cause there I am redoing the cage, 16 years old, brazing and welding the cage back together because I just crushed it.
Yeah.
And then, like you say, you learn from your failures. And I remember I had just got my license, and I was delivering firewood. And he had old equipment, right? I remember I cut a little too close to this tree backing up. I took the mirror right off the truck. And we're talking it wasn't just the mirror that's attached to the sail panel, right? This is the one with the bracing going down the side of the door.
Yeah.
So I peeled the
door
right open. I remember driving back and I'm like, oh shit. I didn't even say anything. I parked in the back and I left.
Next to that old chipper.
I just left. Didn't say anything, right? I get a phone call about an hour later and I could just hear him. I'm not even saying hello yet. He's already yelling. Well, learned how to put a new door on, paid for that door.
Yeah.
So that, it teaches you how to pay for your mistakes. And it just went from there. And got done with Bob after, I think I was 19.
Where's Bob now?
Bob still has his business.
Yeah.
He morphed, though. So kiln dried firewood is a huge thing in the Northeast. So Bob had, obviously the labor market was going down and he didn't have really any help to carry on the business. So he went into the firewood. He's got these massive processors now, splitting tables, sorting tables, etc. He's got 7 or 8 kilns on the property.
Wow.
And he cornered the market in the Northeast for the restaurants. So now he's providing kiln dried firewood to the majority of the restaurants between Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire.
Wow, that is insane.
Yeah.
Innovator.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's
Man,
doing.
that's cool.
He's doing awesome.
He found it.
It's funny because
No,
Kiln dried firewood.
Yep, kiln dried
Oh,
firewood.
my God.
who would have thought?
I know, and it's working. He's making money.
I wonder who the kiln dry firewood provider in California is.
You know, everything's dry already. You don't need to kiln. Like, your drying season's not very
it's
long.
tinderbox standing.
Yeah.
But I hadn't seen Bob in a long time, and back in 2019, I would happen to be in Rhode Island, and I just happened to come across him. He called me, and we went out to lunch, and he's sitting down with me at lunch, and he goes, if I ever had any idea that you were going to be what you are now, you would have never left. I wouldn't have let you go anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, is that a compliment? I said, well, it should be a compliment to him because he's the one that put me on the right path.
Yeah.
He was the first one to put me in a tree, first one to put a set of spikes on me, first one to show me how to make a rope saddle,
Yeah.
like an actual rope saddle just from a rope. How to tie the taut line on there, which I climbed on the taut line for 10 years before I moved out of it. And it's always the go-to to go back if you feel things getting a little shaky. Go back to the taut line. But first guy who held me top a tree. I did a removal. It was I remember Johnson's Pond in Coventry. I remember clear as day, 18-inch little white pine, small, probably 45 feet. But, man, I butt hitched that thing over the wrong way. It caught, sent me for a friggin' ping pong paddle ride.
Yeah.
But got the tree done. First guy put me in a tree.
How'd you feel after that?
Well, I'm still doing it when I'm not doing the equipment management thing. There's nothing better than
Now,
that.
why'd you leave there? Where'd you go
I
after
think
that?
it was progressive. After that, I went to a smaller company, Lawrence Tree Care. Mark Lawrence was one of the only certified arborists in the state. And he went to a college in New York to learn arboriculture. And I just by chance, Rhode Island's really small. You don't have that many companies around. Or should I say, there's not that many companies you should work for. That's a better way of putting it, right? So I went to Mark because I just, it was that time, left Bobby, found someone else to pick up with, and I learned a lot from them. I learned a lot from Mark. And he's actually working for my buddy Derek now as a consultant. And so he's still in the business.
Yeah.
He's got his own stories. Guy had a really bad injury on the face. Big learning mistakes, stuff to teach on. And he does a great job teaching about that, and great guy to learn from. That guy taught me a lot about tree biology. He taught me a lot about proper climbing technique, positioning. And that was like the first, away from the old school techniques. So here's the way things should be done. This is safer, right? So I stayed with Mark for a little bit.
What was his last name again?
Lawrence.
Mark Lawrence?
Mark
Lawrence.
Yep.
Yeah. And he's still around doing work too?
Yep, he is.
At a province or Rhode Island?
He's out of Coventry now. Works for
Coventry.
Warwick Tree Service. Great dude. Loves to share his knowledge. Right.
You
So
still
I've-
talk to him?
Oh yeah.
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 How long ago was this?
God, it had to be 2004, around there.
Been some time.
Yeah, had to be about 2004.
What are you laughing at? Done some time?
I'm like, you're showing your age, man.
Well, we both are showing
it's
our
I
funny,
age,
know, I'm
okay.
trying to
I
hide it
think-
right now. You're on the spotlight, not
Yeah,
not-
But 2004, I'm thinking it's like 2 years ago. It feels like, and I'm like,
No, it's been a long. It feels like a
I'm
long time.
Whoa, it's 18 years ago.
Yeah, it feels like a long time. So it started, dabbling around in '94, and quickly once I got out of high school, I quickly kept going up. Right, so I got done with Mark, and I moved on to Northeastern Tree, which is at the time was a very large company. Was a foreman for them. Did a lot with them. I trained a lot of people there. One of them actually runs a Diamant now, and we subcontracted. Mowbray subcontracted Northeastern because they have a Diamant. And the Diamant came out, and I get a phone call, and Jay Damon is running the Diamant. And he's like, hey, I'm like,
All the
Who
way
the
from
hell?
Rhode Island?
comes in subcontracts. No, I had no clue.
Oh,
Right? I
that's
had no
cool.
idea this was going to happen. So I get a phone call from Kevin King, who's our mechanized manager.
Yeah.
He goes, "Hey, do you know Jay Damon?" I'm like, "Yep." He goes, and he asked me if I knew a guy named Alan. I'm like, "Big Alan?" He goes, "Yep." I said, "The mechanic Alan?" He's, "Yep." I said, "I've known those guys a better part of my adult life, and I trained Jay on how to climb back in probably
cool.
2005, 2006."
Wow.
And he went on through Northeast and just completely just went up through the ranks and
How many people did he train? That's
I know.
trained, like taking that time for that one person
Yep.
and spending that time to train him. Look, it went full circle,
Yep.
and now he's subbing for you.
But that right there, what you just said, right? And I know Jared will attest to this. What you just said right there, how many guys did that one person train?
Yeah.
Right? So it's all about getting that proper training, that inherent training, right? Getting rid of that complacency when you're training somebody, right? Because he was watching me in the tree. And if I'm doing something wrong, he's going to think it's right because I'm supposed to be training him. So he's going to go ahead and do it.
It spreads.
And it keeps on going down. It may not be me that gets hurt doing my shortcut. It might not be him that gets hurt doing my shortcut. Maybe not 3 or 4 people down the line, but eventually that shortcut's going to kick someone in the ass. And that's going to be on the person who did the original training. Right? So that's why it's important for trainers, especially, you better be on point, right? Safest work practices, compliance work practices. Opinion stays out of it. And you can have an opinion on what you think is the best, as long as it's safe and compliant. Yeah, if it checks all the boxes, but you got to remember, can that guy replicate it?
Right.
Can that next guy replicate it?
It's like kids. You got kids around you. They're watching every move and every single thing you said, and all of a sudden you go, "Where'd you learn that frickin' word?" "Dad."
Yep, it's always me.
Dad.
It's always
Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with the apprentices you have out there in the field. They're watching every move. Like, well, Bill did it this way. I do it this
Exactly. And it might not be comfortable for me to do it sometimes the proper way. How many times are we still in the tree now, and we are totally comfortable grabbing that one hand and reaching out there and making that cut with that chainsaw one-handed. Is it safe? Yeah, it's safe enough, right? Anzai still gives you a little bit of wiggle room in there to do it if it's the least hazardous way to do it.
Right.
But is it, like as Doug Tutrop would always say, there's always better positioning.
Yep.
Always. Take your time and do it.
Yeah.
And making sure you train the people to think like that, to think, oh, well, I could just lay out right here and stretch out and make that cut, and be done and out of here.
The way I look at that too is you can't put a gray area when it comes to some of these safety standards. It has to be black and white, because if you leave a gray, people will stay in that gray. Right. And it's a hard thing, because we've all known, we've been in positions in the tree where you're like, there is no fucking way that I'm going to make that cut or get in that position, because there's not. I'm sitting 15 degrees out. I'm flat as shit, and there is no other way to get to that limb. And I'm all the way out there. If I move any further out there to get 2 hands, I'm going to fall off, or I'm going to break this limb. Just an example.
But I like your side of this, right? So you say finite regulation. Now I'm on the opposite end of that, because as a professional world, right? So let's take the European standards now, right? The European standards are really coming down the line and telling you what is right, what is wrong. There's not a lot of room for the professional to make a decision on what's best suiting for that situation.
Yeah.
So you can have your rule book, in my opinion, right? And that's what rules are, just a whole bunch of opinions, and you get the consensus, right? That's how you come up with the rules and regulations. You have the consensus of best work practices throughout the whole industry. If you take away the ability for the person, the professional, to make a judgment decision, then who was held liable at the end of the day? The people making the regulations.
100%.
Right, and that could end up being a really mess. That's a lot of litigation later in the. But behind that, the way you do something, Jared, is not necessarily the same way I'm going to do something, but we have the same result with the same work practices, right?
Yep.
Maybe you're right up on it and you make the cut from the hip, Maybe I'm more comfortable making the cut between my pectorals and my hip, right? But the standard says the hip.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm reaching down as opposed to being right here in a stable position.
Yep.
So I mean, there has to be a healthy balance between regulation, finiteism. If you can follow me on that.
No, I agree 100%. I guess where I'm going with that is where, there's so many situations that are out there that you can't cover in black and white, but you can't keep gray areas because people will live in it, right? So, being able to have these standards are great, but there are some times, and I'm not preaching this. I'm not saying, hey man, everybody go outside your standards, but everybody has to understand these are why standards were created, just because the most incidences happen right within using tools or systems or whatever within these areas, and that's where people get hurt. Right. So they create standards around them. So it's all statistics.
So exactly, it's all numbers. But let's take that back before we get to those numbers. Right. So what if we take an attitude standard? Right. Let's see. The mean attitude is, well, I can live in the gray. Why can't the mean attitude be, let's go for the best work practices? And this is the gray is the, oh shit, I can't do best work practices. Right. It's that mindset. It's the mindset, oh, I can get away with doing this, instead of trying to do it better.
Yeah.
That's what needs to change, is the attitude, the mindset, the safety culture, right? Because if I'm sitting there thinking, well, I can do it like this because the standard says, so I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to try to better myself to get better positioning. I'm not going to try to get a better angle on this. I'm not going to put that second line in the tree to V-rig myself in there and be way more stable, right? So it's that mindset. You have to get that mindset changed. You can change all the regulation in the world. I mean, look at us now. We have ANSI, right?
Now, how do you get that mindset changed?
That's probably the toughest question to answer that you're ever going to ask.
But if anybody could answer it, if anybody can answer it, you can answer it. Like person, someone in 20 years, they're coming in.
Well, that's a whole nother thing. So you have the new person, right, with zero experience. That's the easy one because you set them off on the right path from the beginning. Teach them through your mistakes. This is what I was doing. This is what ended up happening. This is how I fixed it. This is why you should do it like this, right? So everyone's got to learn from when you're fresh. You have to learn from other people's mistakes. When you have a 20-year vet, unfortunately, without knowing somebody or having it happen to you, you're not going to change that mindset because it's going to be the consistent, well, I've been getting away with it for 20 years. You have to either know somebody that has been hurt or you have to been hurt yourself in order for that to change. You have to have some personal connection to it. And that, everyone knows, I had a pretty nasty accident in 2018. Everyone knows this.
I don't know this.
I had a pretty bad one.
What happened?
I got trapped under a rigging line.
How did this happen? And how was
complacency?
Complacency.
You can hear on the unedited version of the video, you can hear me talking to my ground guys. I was working for a landscaper, my buddy Jake's tree company, but we had a bunch of landscapers working with us. Never run a GRCS before, thank God. Like that's what really saved my ass. But you can hear me on the video saying, "Oh, my rigging's too flat. My ring is too far away. I should put a tagline on this." You hear me going through the whole thing before I make this cut. I had real shitty positioning when I was making the cut. And I knew it. You heard me just before I make the cut. I said, let it run a little bit because I don't want it to come back on me. You hear me call it out before I make the cut.
You knew it might come back.
I already knew it. And because I've made this cut 1,000 times on the American elm, I figured I could swing it. This limb was big. This limb was probably about 30 feet long.
How many other times did you think you could swing it and it worked that way? Or
every time.
Every time.
Every time.
You were just like,
right. I never had it come back and do what it did. Never. But I didn't take all the factors into play.
But you had a feeling that it might.
Yeah, because I said it. But I still did it. Right? Because I get away with it all those times before.
That gut feeling, you fought it.
Yeah,
When you
I
get
went
that
against
gut
what
feeling,
I went against my better judgment, and I still did it.
So what's the advice out there when that stuff goes through your head like that? Because I'm sure everybody is making that cut and that thing pops up, that little guy or voice.
This. Let me go through this, and you'll understand. I'll answer that question.
Okay.
So I made the cut, and you can see on the helmet cam video, the line comes right across, traps my saw arm, puts the saw into my gut. Thank God the inertia brake worked, because the bar was in my stomach and it was revved up. It was pegged. The rope came across and pegged my finger where it was on the trigger. And you can hear it just absolutely screaming with the brake engaged. Trapped my arm, trapped my leg. The only reason it didn't break, it didn't shatter my leg because my spike was on, pressed up against the trunk. And the load line had me under a 1,500-pound piece. Fortunately, the way the line came across, my tie-in point was by my rigging point, so I was able to pull my way out because I had a 3-to-1 setup. It was a long limb walk on SRS. I had the 3-to-1 setup. I was able to pull myself out from underneath it, and you can see my wrist is snapped. Trying to start the saw, so it doesn't want to start. Finally, get it started, hit the load line, let the piece fall down, throw the saw out of the tree, and self come down. But fortunately, the ground team had no idea how to use GRCS. Because if they had let that thing run, it would have burned right through me. That's how much tension was on it from the angle coming down and then where it was resting below it. It would have burned right through my leg. It would have burned through my arm. It would have went right to the bone and probably through it. There was that much weight and that much distance from me to the ground. But that night, after I got all said and done at the hospital, that night, Doug Tutrop called me. Because he heard through the grapevine something happened. And you know Dougie. Everyone knows Doug. Doug's a great dude. Called me, goes, I don't care what happened. I don't care what, injuries, and we don't want to talk about that. He goes, I want to talk about your mindset before that cut was made. And we just went through it. He goes, so you're in the flow? I'm like, yeah. He goes, go buy some quad lock carabiners. And that's what I did. And I asked him why, and he said because it breaks that cycle. Because you have to sit there. You're used to using the triple action, right? So up, open, done. This one requires that second thought process to twist, pull up, push back, do it again, right, to open it up. So it breaks that mentality, it breaks that cycle. And I did it. But coming from that, it was, okay, so if something so simple breaks that cycle, why did I continue doing that cut? And it was because I was complacent, because I kept on doing it. My head was like this, right? I made that cut 1,000 times. It was a deciding moment that safety was going to take paramount. That was going to be the focus from now on, right? I can still do work. I can still do production. I can still make things happen. I can still train. I can still do all this, but it's going to be doing the best work practices now. This isn't going to happen again. I'm not going to sit there and say my rigging's too flat. It's too far out. I'm not going to sit there and say that anymore. I should have went back up there and moved the ring. I should have put a tagline on that. I should have made that cut smaller.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I know I should have done. And now it's not going to happen again. It's going to be done because, once again, guys, a lot of experience. It took that incident for that to change.
Wow. Crazy.
That's what it is. I mean, that's the toughest question. How do you get people to think?
You have your groundmen there that don't know how to run a GRCS, but yet you're going up. I mean, each team member. Do you have a backup climber? Do you have someone that can?
There was nobody.
There was nobody that could save you.
Nobody.
Right?
It was either myself or the fire department. And God, we all know what would happen then.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yep.
Yeah. Hearing that out there, I've heard this many times. Is like, yeah, he's an apprentice climber, but I don't think he could save me. But yet they go up in the tree. Mm-hmm. How do we improve that? How do we make sure that our team's equipped to do every aspect of that job to get that tree down, that you can trust every single person? When you have a large company and guys are coming in and out and teams are switching up and then you have to perform this work to do this. And like, how do you still go to work every day, keep the production going, yet you don't trust everybody because you have only known Jose and Mike for a month that's now on your crew?
So let's take aerial rescue. Okay. So with us, Mowbrays, we are training them once a year, right? What we're supposed to do. Making sure they still understand the fundamentals, make sure they still do it. It's up to the foreman to give these guys some time to practice on the day. But we took it the next step. So in my truck, my personal truck, I have my red bag, right? So it's a Teufelberger CE climb kit set up in a 3-to-1 configuration. We've adopted that type of configuration in our company. So now, it's not a replacement for training. It's not a replacement for making sure your crews are made up the proper way with competent people. Mm-hmm. It's an extra tool to help that crew achieve a goal. So we've come up with a standard. If there's 2 qualified climbers on the site, you don't need to put it in the tree, right? Because you have a qualified climber. But the foreman could always make the decision to put it in the tree if you wanted to. If you're on a 2-man crew and you're climbing, this will be in the tree at all times. The foreman dictates where it's going to go, how it's set up. But now it allows even the biggest ground person with 0 climbing experience to pull himself up there and to achieve a goal if he so sees fit. Otherwise, you're not going to achieve that goal. You know, if you have just a regular climbing kit sitting there on the ground with no throw line put in or nothing like that, it's not going to happen. Yeah. So adopting, and we're still working out the bugs with the union and everything else about, you know, what's acceptable for non-climbers to be doing and stuff like that. We're working on it. Slow process, you know, glacial speed. But the idea is that if this is in the tree, then we have a better chance of something being accomplished. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Without it, it's not going to happen. So it's a slow mindset change. It's a slow change within standard and procedures. Obviously, nothing replaces training. Nothing. Mm-hmm. But it's tough because, you know, you have so many hours in the week. Mm-hmm. Most times you're not going to get paid for training during the week. Most times. Your clients don't want you training on site because you're taking away from their money. They're not getting their money's worth.
It's a liability.
Yeah, and it's a liability. Yeah. So there's a lot of challenges. You know, we've also looked at we started doing before COVID. We started doing rec climb days on the weekends.
Nice.
And that was a good opportunity for guys who wanted to get other time with the trainers. We would go out, set up at a park, and who wants to go? Mm-hmm. You know, and it worked out well. And then COVID hit, and kind of everything came to a screeching halt. We had, for our company, we had our incident last year. You know, widely known throughout the industry that we had a really major incident. It gave us an opportunity to take the entire Southern California Edison group and retrain. We had 88 days down. Every single day during the week, Monday through Friday, we were training everything from your basic ground operations to climbing, to aerial rescue, to first aid, you name it, we were training it, and we drilled it. And now our Edison group, our incident rates are way down. Our what do you want to call them? Incidental injuries like sprains, strains, right. They're way down. We're not having a lot of third-party audits come back with major deficiencies. We're talking really minor deficiencies, which is always a good thing to see that, you know, it's nothing too severe, like fire extinguisher out of date or oil tags missing off the can, you know, stuff like that, wheels not turned. So it's good to see that that's working. Mm-hmm. Now we have to promote that company-wide.
And that's just from 88 days of training.
88 days of training. We took a situation.
So now what's the training like going forward in all divisions for that, to where you don't have to have a stand down, you don't have to have a major injury to train? What type of training is implemented now?
It's the same training protocols that we've had before the incident. It's just now we're pushing them a lot harder. Yeah. Now when we do have deficiencies come in, it is straight to the point. Here's your toolbox the next day. We're not going to work until we go through it. We're having the 10-minute meeting in the yard, with the small training and then targeted individualized training.
Gotcha.
So now we're going out.
So 88 days, what does that accumulate to hours for each individual?
No, I don't even know. 40 does.
How many people are there?
Okay.
So 300, let's just say 300 hours.
Okay.
300 times 8 times 88. What's that number?
I don't know. Who's going to calculate
300 times 8 is 24. 2400 times 8.
You don't know what you're doing.
Take the square root.
Oh, gosh.
16.
Bob, what's
18,
that number?
18,
300 times 88 times, let's say, 8.
I don't let me pull out my phone.
All right, we'll get
it's
it.
on record, and I got it right.
Yeah. Well, we can keep talking. We don't have to wait for
We don't have to wait for that answer. We took a bad situation, made it, and turned it into something that we could really use.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, once again, it took an incident like that to make it happen.
It always does.
Yeah.
You know how many times I've said, I'll never do it again. God, I promise I'll never do it again. Because an incident had to happen to scare me enough not to do something again, kind of thing. And same with that.
What, on that note, what really was effective for the SoCal Edison team was it did affect everybody. When you have a company-wide stand down, so we have our clients, so our SoCal Edison client, we got stood down, it affects everybody.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of guys knew the guys who got hurt. So that affects everybody.
Yeah, so what numbers did you want? 388 times what?
388
24.
times 88
times
300 times 8.
That's 211,200.
211,200.
That's what I said.
And then times that by, let's say,
So 88 times
300
That's
times 8.
40-something thousand, yeah. Times 8. No, that's 101.6.
it's 211,200.
And then times it by 1,000.
That's a bazillion. That's 211,200,000.
Gotcha. Cool. It's a lot.
Cool.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of hours.
It's a ton of hours.
Yep.
So how'd you get out here to the West Coast?
So that's another interesting story. So I was back working at Warwick Tree and was with Tufberger, at the expo, and got talking. I mean, I've known Ricky Mowbray for a long time.
You think we can get him on the podcast?
You probably could. I think you could convince.
Do we got to go down there?
Most likely, he's very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's busy.
Maybe we'll do a road show down there.
Absolutely.
Next time you guys have a big event or party at the corporate office or whatever, we'll come down and be a part of it.
There's no more room for partying at the corporate. I mean, we're cleaning out closets now to put more staff. I mean, everyone's known of Ricky, right? Ricky's the forerunner with utility safety and, getting the work done, being a crane guy himself, being a climber himself, very well respected. So I knew of Ricky for a long time, but I finally got to meet Ricky thanks to Solomon.
Mm-hmm.
And once I met Ricky, it was kind of a, just top level thing. It wasn't jiving at the time.
Yeah.
But then John Stedman had me come out for About Trees, and things just, we were working. It was good. It was really good. And I got involved with the Butte program and got to sit with Ricky. And then we started talking. And things were starting to make a lot of sense. And he's like, well, you should just come on down. So I went down, we sat down, we talked, and I was doing some work with them on a helicopter program to get them up and started for an Edison program. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the PG&E program.
Yeah.
And so just one thing led to another. And then I went down there, sat with him, and he just kind of said to me, he goes, hey, you know Eric Palacio? I'm like, yeah, Eric's like one of my best friends. And he goes, he's coming on board. I'm like, no, he's not. Because Eric hadn't said anything to me at this point.
Yeah.
So I call Eric in front of Ricky. I'm like, hey, I'm sitting with Ricky right now. I was, oh, dude, just sign it, whatever. Just sign whatever. Let's get on board.
That sounds
It's gonna
just
be me and
like
you.
him.
It's gonna be me and you.
Bro,
Come on,
bro,
bro, do it now.
Yeah,
Do it now.
just do it
Yeah,
now.
do
Just
it.
sign
It's gonna
whatever
be
he
awesome.
puts in front of you. I'm like, okay, click. I'm like, all right, Ricky, what do you got? And from there it was on.
Nice.
And it started the next week.
And when was this? What year was this?
That was in November of 2019.
Gotcha.
So it was pretty. It was. I was out there for about trees, working up in Paradise, and just things just the right
Come
time.
together.
The right time.
Then you moved your whole family out here.
Yep.
And you got your family here today.
Yep. No, some of them are here.
Some of them.
Some of them are here.
Some of them are here.
But yeah, it was a good time. A lot of times doors open, and a lot of times you don't walk through them, and then you kick yourself in the ass. This is one of those times I wasn't going to do that.
Now tell us about Mowbrays. I mean, some of these people don't know Mowbrays, but they're you guys are an enormous company. You guys have probably the most cranes out here, and probably some of the most equipment out here.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Ricky, and he's like, "How many Cinnabuggers you have?" I got 9. I got that, and he's like, you just kept getting stuff. I'm like, holy crap! Like,
Yeah.
like I got an Allbach. I got this. I mean, this is when everybody was buying up this equipment
Right.
for all the fire stuff for that, and I'm just going, holy smokes! But
So Mowbray's started in '72 with John and Gloria, Ricky's parents, and well, hold on, no, Rick's parents.
Rick's
Sorry,
parents.
Ricky's dad's parents.
grandparents.
His grandparents. Sorry.
grandparent.
It's tough when you have two people with the same name. Started in '72, kept it still a family business until recently when well, it's still family owned.
Yeah.
But now we're moving towards more corporate structure. They still keep the family mentality. And I believe it was 2006, the Mowbrays got their Edison contract. And from there, it just progressively got bigger and bigger
So
and bigger.
2006 was it?
I believe so. I'm not. I believe it's
Okay.
2006, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And it just boomed.
Oh yeah.
It just boomed.
boomed.
But you have a family-run company with people who know how to cut and people who know how to climb. So you have the cutters running a company. We all know that, tree cutters aren't normally the best company runners. We all know that, right? But they do a really good job. Rick was in charge before, and then Ricky's in charge now. They do a really, really good job. And they always keep the employee, in the mind. What's best for the employee? The best gear. We provide the best gear that we can put our money on for every climber,
That's right.
every groundman.
Makes a big difference.
Makes a huge difference. And then they attracted the talent to go with it. I like to say it. I got one of the best teams in the industry. You got Axel Avila running safety. Man, I mean, if you don't know Axel, you need that. You need to know.
I don't
Axel.
know Axel.
You need to know Axel.
I haven't even got a chance to meet Ricky. We've talked on the phone and text back and forth, but I still haven't met the guy.
When you're talking safety,
Yeah.
Ricky did an awesome job as safety director, but Axel's a whole nother world. Axel's he's up here. Everyone else, when it comes to safeties.
So
down here.
what separates him from everybody else then to make him up there? I mean, how do you say everybody's here and he's here? What's the differences?
Because he can put into practice. He can put his mouth where his money is. He just won the Rocky Mountain chapter. He just won it last month. This guy can put what he preaches into action. He can show you that what he preaches that's what it is, and it works.
But how does that make him top of the line and being safe like that? Because Jared, would Jared be that guy? Could he be that top safety guy just by climbing all these years? No. So there's something else. I'm like,
wait, you're gonna have to. You'll have to meet Axel, and there's just something about him.
Yeah.
There's something about him, the way he approaches situations, the way he approaches everything. There's something about Axel that just makes him that guy. It is what it is.
Yeah, you just know when you see somebody that has something special, man. You're just like,
clicks with him.
You got to have them. I'm in that same boat. I get people that come through here all the time, trainers or I'm training individuals. They're coming through the boot camps, or coming through trainings, or maybe individuals that come in through an assessment, and I'm like, man, they have something special. Like, you can see it,
Yep.
it's just that clicks, whether it's their attitude or, the way they can portray themselves.
Yep.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
It's something they have.
We have a lot of people like that in our company.
Yeah, that's great.
Axel at the top. Then we just picked Court Sherwood just came back, and he's going to be heading up north. Court Sherwood, another one of those Rocky Mountain chapter guys who's just been there, knows it. Great teacher.
Yeah, he's up there teaching with Justin.
Yep.
Our guy, yeah.
Yep.
They're teaching together, yeah.
And now, Solomon. Everyone knows Solomon. Solomon's a great dude, great trainer. We have some new guy. We have the Ramirez brothers, great guys. We have new guys, John Sullivan, young guy, full of fire, right?
Yeah.
Loves to do it right. You guys met John at the comp,
Yeah, he got his what are
Vipers?
His pit
Pit
vipers.
Vipers.
We
Yeah,
have,
and he's heavy on Instagram too. He has his motivational talks or whatever he does. Yeah.
John's a great up and comer. It's about attitude.
Let's talk about Missy Sue just came on here
Yep.
and just waved and say hello. And I seen that she just left Mowbray's. Now she's at Rancho. From that.
Yep. Missy's awesome.
Yeah.
Missy and John are awesome. I lived with Missy and John for like 6 months.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And let me tell you, you can't get any better people.
Good people.
They
I
are
don't know
awesome.
them personally. I'm just, I've seen them at the events. I say hi on Instagram, Facebook, back and forth like that. And they brighten up my day every single
Their
day.
energy doesn't change.
So I'm going to apologize since you guys are watching. John, I owe you a pair of pants, man. I know you hit me up for some pants, and I haven't come back to you yet. So, sorry, dude.
Asshole.
Missy, so I have a video on my hard drive of Missy dropping her first tree. And it was on a job that John and I were doing together with a massive crew up in Paradise. And where she was then to where she is now is a prime example of attitude. Right? Nothing's stopping her. That woman will pick a target, and she will achieve that goal
So awesome.
no matter what it takes. You can't beat that. The drive is just incredible.
Yeah.
Who would have thought, Missy's not young, right? She's not.
She looks young.
She looks young, and her attitude is young.
Yeah.
And she'll
couldn't
tell
keep
you,
up with her.
she probably feels like, Missy, don't kill me on this one. But she probably feels like she's 20. She probably feels like she's
You're
25.
calling her out right now.
Whatever. But, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
We're not young people anymore,
Yeah.
right?
I don't feel
And
it.
she made a career change at that time of her life to go from counseling to being a ground woman.
I think she's still counseling.
Well, yeah, us tree guys, we're
I
screwed
think
up.
she's still counseling. That's for sure.
Most all of us.
Yes, most of us are screwed up some way, shape,
oh,
or form.
Man. Oh, man.
But she made a career change,
Yeah.
and she just what are you thinking? Right? That's what any normal person would have said. What are you thinking? And she just took it and just here's what I'm thinking. I'm any better than you.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Who's the normal person? She's living her life to the fullest. She
Yep.
can make any decision you want. And sometimes in our life, or in people in their life, they just think, I got to work this 30 years. I got to buy a house. I got to do the white picket fence. I got to have 2.3 kids. This is the way I'm supposed to go. And she's like, no, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that.
John,
2.3 kids.
2.3? I don't know.
I'm way above that one.
One in the belly.
I'm way above that one.
2.5.
Oh, by the way, a big shout out to Ray at Gap Arbor Supply. Just had another kid today. Congratulations,
But
Ray.
guys, if you guys don't know Missy, the whole show's not on Missy, and I feel like we're turning into. But she's an awesome person.
Yeah.
Follow her, Missy Sue 67 on Instagram. If you want to see her sing and dance and give motivational, powerful speeches, go follow her.
Yes,
Go follow her.
you won't find better energy. You won't.
Yeah.
No, she's. And we've talked. She's. Her and John are going to come be on the podcast
Awesome.
too.
You're such a power duo, man.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And the best thing is that's what you get.
Mm-hmm.
When you see Missy and John, that's what you get. They are straight up as they can be, and they know their shit.
So I'm going to rewind a bit to go back to what does it take to, we talk about building your team, and, changing people's perspective. They're a great example of this.
Yes, they are.
It's morale, building that morale, building that trust, building that culture. You can feel it in their vibe, their energy, man. And I believe in that. I believe you could change a company. You can change your crew from whatever way you feel. You can change it.
You can train anyone to do anything with the right attitude.
You're
it's soft
changing
skills.
people.
It's soft skills,
You're changing people watching you on Instagram. When I watch them, I'm just going, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. I want to shoot somebody, and she's up doing her dance. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty okay.
Well, it all goes, like you said, it just goes with attitude, right? You can train anyone to do anything skill-wise, right, if they have the right attitude.
Exactly. So, I'm faced with this right now in my career, right? Building a training team, and what I'm looking for, I could teach skills. I'm confident in that because that's what I've been doing. What I'm looking for, I need people with really good attitudes that want this, that want to be in this for the long term, that want to give back, that can communicate, that can inspire, motivate, right? And these are the key things that my values for my team that I want. Yeah, I could take a badass with the most arrogant bastard in the world. I can't do much with that. Right? Can I trust them to go out and provide the same knowledge and information and passion, get the trust that I would want? Absolutely not.
Right. Attitude means everything. And you look at our team, right? So that's one of the things we look at. Kevin Kelly is a great example of good attitude. Another Rocky Mountain chapter guy, trained by Court Sherwood early in his career.
Coloradans, they're freaking awesome.
You take a look at someone like Kevin. And Kevin is a badass tree guy. Kevin can come on a site and take a crew that doesn't know anything or knows very little, very minimal, very traditional. And by the time he's done leaving, because of the way he approaches it, the way he comes after their people, the way he gets the information across, it's repetitive. It's not, hey, I'm Kevin Kelly, I'm the best in the world. It's, hey, I know how to do this. Here's how you're going to do it. Let's go ahead and try it. And he fixes the mistakes that they make right then and there. But it's not, hey, you have to do it this way, right? There might be some minute changes that the guys are doing in the tree. As long as they're kosher, cool. Right. You don't have to do it exactly the way I'm doing it, as long as your base skills are there, and that's the way Kevin approaches it. It's the way I approach it, right? I'm not going to come out and change a guy who's been climbing on taut line for 25 years. I'm not going to come out there and say, hey, you need to use a zigzag. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to, hey, instead of, thrusting up there and pushing your hand up, why don't you take this micro pulley and put this below that, right? And have your ground guy help you up. Then we're going to do those subtle changes. I'm not going to come in there and force my way in and be like, hey, you need to be on a zigzag. It's going to help you. And that's the attitude thing, right? So I can come in there and be like, hey, you're going to do it this way, right? You're going to do it my way. I'm going to put you on a zigzag. You're going to climb like this, and you're not going to climb. Or I can make you want to learn, right? So I give you that micro pulley below that taut line, and now you're like, that's a little bit easier.
You make them thirsty.
Yeah, exactly.
For more.
And then, why do I want to untie this thing every time when I can just use a split tail, right? Now you can open up and go around them branches instead of taking all your time and retying. Picking the proper tie-in point so you don't have to retie or split it open. The continual little pushes in the right direction, instead of coming in there and be like, you need to do it this way. Now they're going to make the decision on their own saying, hey, what else do you got? What else you got to make me better? And then you get them to that point.
That's it.
I like it.
It's all about attitude, though, right?
It is. It's all about attitude means everything.
Everything. You can get anything accomplished with anybody.
And you always have a good attitude, man.
Try.
I'm always happy to see your call come through and talk to you.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, if you go talk to some people at the equipment shed right now, so it's either an AB day, which is Angry Bill Day, or it's a VAD, Very Angry Bill Day, and they put it up on the billboard. Get it? The billboard on the outside of the shack. It's.
I guess I only seen you mad once, and that was aerial rescue.
Yep. I was yeah.
He was not happy.
I was not happy.
I'm like,
not happy.
I'm like, is this ABC day?
Yeah,
What
no,
happened?
that was.
But don't you love it when people come up and still say great job and you're like,
You did really
man, I should be
good.
like,
Well, I mean,
it's not a great job, man.
you have to take it with a grain of salt, right? You have to say thanks, you know.
No, I know. I'm just messing with you.
So, Mike,
Yeah, you don't have to be.
I'm the king of bad days.
You have to. You have to be polite,
just
Jared.
drag it in there. Yeah, you have to be polite. Going to the Western chapter, by the way, great job. Can't wait till next year.
Yeah,
Thank you, man.
Jared's putting the
Can't
whole thing
wait.
on now.
Yeah.
Can't wait. You got
been
some
grand
big
forward,
shoes.
man.
You got some big shoes to fill.
Oh, that's not a problem, man. I've been in this game with doing that, helping out for a lot of years, and I'm looking forward to make it better.
Yeah, it's not going to be the same without Phil, though.
Yeah. Oh, he'll still be there.
Yeah, he's
well,
still
yeah,
gonna
be
come.
there.
Good.
Yeah.
He's gonna come.
So competition-wise, competing is relatively new for me. It's only in the last few years I've really, really got in there and start competing. And I don't really train. I don't train like this guy does or did.
Yeah.
I don't. I very rarely will get out there and go for a run or two or get up in the tree and train for a comp.
Yeah.
So my expectations for myself are, middle of the pack. But coming out of Arizona the way I did before the Western chapter, knowing that just a stupid mistake DQ'd me from the Masters, I had expectations to really do well, and I should have taken them more seriously. And AR is my thing, right? I preach AR. I practice AR all the time. I train AR. I train scenario. I train as hard as I can for AR with every student that I have. And for that to happen at the comp was like, you're an idiot.
Somebody should have been calling out time or something. You didn't know what time it was.
It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Next year.
So
It
what could you give back to people about comp? People listening that are on the fence about competing. What would you tell them?
Okay, so for me, for years, I was not into competitions. Like, I had some very harsh words to people that do a lot of comps, right? They're just doing
Jared,
comps.
he's just
What,
a prima
what are you,
donna.
what are
He
you
can't
trying
climb.
to be? What are you trying to be, an Abergina?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
He
post-
doesn't production climb. He's just a calm climber.
That's it. He does it for a living.
I've heard it
Yeah.
all, man. You're not gonna offend me.
I'm not even going to bother because I was completely wrong with that mindset.
Yeah.
I was completely wrong because competitions, whether or not you do well placing, are super important to growth. You can learn a lot just by watching. You can learn a lot by doing, and you can learn a lot because just by watching how one person ascends as opposed to the other is kind of like the middle road of yours. Or for me personally, my throw ball technique. So Jambo, right? My throw ball technique absolutely sucked up until Jambo. I mean, it was okay. But compared to the people I was going up against, sucked, like royally. And James was over there, James Earhart.
All right, yeah.
And I had just come off my arm surgery and shouldn't have been competing at all, period. My doctor kind of ripped my head open after Jambo about that. But I saw James and was like, whoa, like I need to go talk to him. So I went and talked to James, and we worked on it for about an hour. Throw ball now, I'm happy with it. I'm freaking happy with it. But I wouldn't have done that if Nick didn't give me the opportunity, if Nick Bonner didn't give me the opportunity to go to Jambo.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for that because I learned a lot at that Jambo. A lot about my climbing style, a lot about my technique, and really where I'm at compared to everybody else. Like, I wasn't as crappy as I thought I was. I mean, I didn't do well compared to the people that I was going against. The Return of the Mac, that team is freaking stacked. Like, they're awesome. Everyone I was going against is awesome.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that bad. And it kind of just right then and there was like, oh, damn, this is kind of important to do. And then it just progressed from there. And now I try to hit every damn comp I can. I may not do well on some of them, but I may surprise myself on others,
Yeah.
And it's important. Whether or not you look at it as important it is, because you can take a lot from it, even if you just go to watch.
Well, it's inspiring, What it does, it takes you out of that element of production, and it brings you back to a different mindset of your trade, your craft, your profession, and it inspires you. And when you're there, when you come back off of that, it's such a high, it's a rush, and you can't wait to get back to work. You're like, man, can't wait for the next one. I'm gonna work harder. I'm gonna train harder. I'm gonna be better, and then you're just hoping for the next one to come quick enough to keep that high again.
So that's an awesome point, what you just said, right? It gives you that inspiration. So everyone knows they went in the utility sector as a trainer in safety. you kind of get, sometimes you're in that rut where you have to just check those boxes. And I was in that rut. Sean and I went to Georgia in, I believe it was November, to compete. That was the last time I competed last year. And I was in a rut. Through the winter, I was in a rut. And then we had the Teufelberger trip. Right. So here I am in Florida with all the other ambassadors. And I'm just like, I'm awestruck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know them, but I've never got to climb with a lot of them, you know? And I was just like, holy shit, I'm learning a lot. And I get to spend time with John Trenchard.
That's cool, man.
Right? John's an awesome trainer from the UK. Got time to spend with him. Spend time with Brick. You want somebody with an attitude that you could really go for. Brick Riley's the guy.
Riley. Yeah.
That dude is awesome.
Yeah.
I got to, spend time with Bo Nagin, Tonge. Tonge is just holy crap. That dude is a ball of everything. Just got time to spend with all these people that I really didn't even feel like I should have been there. Like, because they're like, to me, they're up here, and here I am, giving my 2 cents about product and development and stuff like that. But then we went to the comp day, and I was right there. I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, damn, I'm 42 years old, and friggin', I did something I thought I'd never do.
Made you hungry for more.
I went back.
Yeah.
And that whole inspiration thing, I went back, and I'm like, we're on this now. I'm on the phone with Axel. I'm like, hey, we got to start getting some things going here,
Mm-hmm.
And then they shoved me in the equipment shack. But that's
they needed you there. So what's the next steps for Bill in this career? Where are you going, man? You just waiting for another door to open? I mean, you're doing so much for Mowbray's. I mean, you're on the strike team, lead trainer. You're overseeing saluting branches, right now. I mean, company's growing. You're in Florida. You went to Florida working, helping with those contracts down there. What's kind of the next step in your progression, your career?
I don't know.
What do you want it to be?
I don't have an answer to that.
Sometimes that's the best.
I kind of, the way I'd like to say it is, I'll do whatever's necessary, right? So I'm in the equipment shack now. This is the third month in there.
I'm sure it's not a shack.
So there's necessary.
Actually,
there's necessary for business, and there's necessary for Bill.
Right. I will always say I need to be useful. So I'll do whatever it takes to be useful.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not being used correctly, like
you're a servant leader.
I try to be.
Yeah.
If my goal is to grow the company,
Mm-hmm.
right? Make sure the company's on the right path. Make sure that we're doing everything right as much as we could. Growth. Making sure our guys are going to grow with us. And the biggest measure of a company is retention, right?
Mm-hmm.
If your employees like it and your employees are happy,
Mm-hmm.
your employees stay. That's a huge measure of a company.
Yep.
And that's what I focus on, is
100%.
making sure that everybody has what they need as much as I can. Obviously, I don't do anything with pay. I don't do anything with that stuff, but make sure you have the right training. Now I'm making sure you have the right gear. And wherever it goes from there, it is. Whatever the company requires, whatever they ask me to do.
Yeah.
That's
great.
So what kind of wisdom, tips from the top that you can give everybody? I mean, dude, just awesome career. How you got out here, what you're doing now. What you're doing at the Butte College. We've had a couple students that have come through, and they're inspired by you. You've literally changed their mindset, their career, their knowledge to be able to go anywhere and be able to have a job in here because of 200 hours, 5 weeks of education that you dedicated in that person. Changed your life.
That program's important. I'm happy that I was part of the DACM for a time, getting that thing developed. I'm happy it actually came to fruition. I'm happy that program came through. I would like to see it implemented a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
I would, but you have to find the pipeline.
Yeah.
You have to find out who's gonna take 5 weeks of their own time, not get paid.
Now they get paid.
Well, see, I'm behind the times.
Yeah.
See? Now they get paid $3,000. That they get paid to go through that, so
Right.
they can at least have enough to get through that 5 weeks. But it's a
Right.
sacrifice of 5 weeks not getting paid. But if you can make it through that 5 weeks, You can almost get a job anywhere, man.
Yeah, and
Shoot.
what I like is the consistency of training. No matter where you go, there's still consistency, but we can, like, I try to take it kind of a little more personal level. For me, I think the curriculum gets taught better when I have a little more personal connection. I use my training and experiences. I use my videos for my helmet cam. I use stuff from the internet. I kind of hone it in, like, yes, it's nice and dry here, and it's dry to read here in your book, but here's what it looks like. Here's what the practical application is. And I think that makes a better connection. And the program is super important because you're taking someone green or sort of green, maybe like the Seas experience in the forest or something like that. So you take that very minimal experience, we'll say, and instead of throwing them on a job site where everything is just super dynamic and everything's always changing, you're giving them much needed education in the very dangerous situations they're going to be in.
Yeah.
The chipper, the chainsaw, ground operations are far more dangerous than they are up in the tree. And you get them over that hump, to get that mindset changed right off the bat for the safety culture. Get that safety culture instilled from day one. And now you're that 5 weeks of training. How long is it going to take for us to get that to them in the field? A year and a half?
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years to get the same quality training that you have there.
Long time.
And it's not even
Long
quality
time.
because by the time you go back to that person, what you trained 6 weeks ago isn't there.
And who knows who they were watching the field and what bad habits they're picking up,
Right.
on this. You get to take them in for 5 weeks.
And start it right then.
The one thing I wish they would add in that program is 4 or 5 more days after the 5 weeks and get a Class A,
So that's funny that you say that because with the program I was doing down in San Bernardino, one of the goals we had for the student to become employable, and I don't mean by Mowbrays, I mean just in general industry, was to at least have your Class B permit. So we structured inside the program itself to get the students to go on their own, give them the applications, give them the apps on their phone, tell them which ones to use, and we put that in our program ourselves.
Good.
And
Neat.
the majority, so right now at the San Bernardino College that we're doing the program, we have a 90% placement rating
Wow.
as of the last class.
That's awesome.
Like that's some serious numbers right there.
Yeah.
And we put a lot of people to work. And you have 3 of them.
Yeah, I do. All girls.
You got 3 of them.
3 girls. So what kind of wisdom can you share to everybody out there? What's like the thing, the Bill Burley just pump up motivation, like wisdom that you can give them?
Low and slow.
Low and slow.
Low and slow.
Low and slow.
Yep. That's about the biggest chunk of wisdom you ever need is low and slow. I say a lot at the beginning of the Butte College classes, and it all equates to low and slow. Don't get ahead of yourself. Stay in your lane. Learn. Don't be in a rush. You have to, you hear my baby in the background. You have to learn to crawl before you can walk, and you have to learn to walk before you run. And no matter how you look at it, you have to do that. You have to start off just on your back, learn how to flip over, learn how to crawl around, learn how to walk from there, and then you can go run. But if you don't do those steps, if you go from being on your back to running, all that stuff you should have learned.
Everything's a progression.
You're going to fail a lot more in between.
Yeah. And we all know that in this industry, it just takes one failure, and that could be it.
Yeah.
That's good, man. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming here and being on the show.
I enjoyed this.
We've planned this for a long time.
Yes, we have.
Long time, and coming here and being here, it's this was good, man. Hearing some of your stories, hearing 2018, I mean, that's a wow. That's a reality check right there. Hopefully, it's a reality check for a lot of people listening, and they can learn from that and hear, and hopefully make some changes like that. but I'm excited. I get to spend a little time with you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Treetopia, and
Looking forward to it.
yeah, that'll be a good time. And you definitely got to come back on and come back up here, and or I'm gonna come down there, and we're gonna get Ricky. We'll get Axel on the show, and John and maybe Missy will come down and be on the show too. But that'd be a good time for that. But I appreciate you being here, brother.
No, I appreciate you guys having me. And this is it's been on my thing to do list. And,
You're here, man.
I'm here.
You're
and,
at the table.
I'm
Made by Jared
I'm
Abergina.
impressed with your
Isn't he
boxy work
good?
here.
This wasn't just me. I gotta give a shout out to Manic Woodshops, Giselle. I mean, we worked on this together. It was a pain in the ass, but we got it done.
Yeah, and here it is. There were some
like it.
imperfections and some things they weren't happy with. But I'm like, that's all right.
Imperfections
That's
are
us.
okay.
This is us.
It's a story.
Yeah, imperfections are okay.
This is it. This is a table that will be around probably for a long time. Everywhere we
think
go.
so. I would
Because
think so.
I don't think you can get rid of it.
Yeah. Can't move it. It's heavy as
No,
shit.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
We appreciate you, man. It's, you're doing a lot of good for this industry, and as trainers, we know a lot of people don't know what the sacrifice it takes to be a trainer and do what we do. And some people think of it as, oh man, you're just finding an easy way out, and there's nothing easy about it.
No, there isn't.
Yeah, some days I think about, man, I could just go back and being a production tree guy. But I
say it every day.
But what good am I doing? What movements am I making for the industry? And how am I saving lives? I'm not.
Right.
So I appreciate you for that, man.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you.
No, you don't have to thank me, buddy.
Yeah.
We're on the same page here. It's the way things get done.
It's,
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Well, guys, listen, that's the show, man. If you liked it, share it. Man, what an inspiring story and a bunch of wisdom that was thrown at you. And you guys took today, and hopefully you'll be able to take this and implement it in your own life. Now go share it with somebody else that's out there. But till next time, remember to continue to keep elevating the standard of the industry. Oh,
No, I have to say it. Hey, Travis, I'm sitting in your chair.
this is the GOAT, Travis, not you. Not you, Travis.
He said it, not me.
Travis said he was the GOAT. I didn't say it. Travis said that. So, guys, continue to elevate the standard of our industry through safety, training, and innovation. We appreciate everybody. And until next time, peace out.
Peace.
Peace. There it is. Bye.